going on, everybody? It is your observant lineman, Uche, Nwaneri. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody is doing well. It is Wednesday, and boy, oh boy, is it ever been a Wednesday for us here in the sports world. We had a couple of things that have happened. One, really a minor thing. Well, not minor, but I guess it is a little minor. NBA 2K22 cover has been released. I say that because my guy right back there is on one of the covers. Dirk Nowitzki's on one of the covers for that. Luka Doncic is on the other. Two Mavs on the covers. You damn right. And then you got, oh man, I forget her name. Candace Parker, first female on the cover of NBA 2K. So congratulations to her on that. Should be some good stuff. Hopefully the game's good this year. I did not get NBA 2K21, but I did have NBA 2K20. I've been a 2K fan since the first one on the Dreamcast. So I took a year off. We'll see what they have for 2K22. But the main story that I wanted to get into today, as everyone knows, the situation with Richard Sherman, it is a situation that initially was definitely shocking, and it went from shocking to bizarre, and now we're starting to see some of the gaps be filled in as to the context for this whole situation. I think it's important to have that context because obviously this is a situation involving a very well-known athlete, someone who has been generally and mostly somebody who has been an asset to everything that we have going on as athletes, and whether that's helping the community or whether that is just being pretty much a role model, an example, not a role model, because I don't really believe in the concept of a role model in the natural sense. I believe in someone just being a leader by example, and he's being a leader by example with his actions throughout the years in the NFL, in his communities, and, just being a guy who's a straight and narrow dude. But all of that came crashing down today. And, I'm not going to, this is not a dressing down of Richard Sherman because, honestly, I don't know the guy personally. But I've always, his reputation around the NFL has always been a good one. It's always been a solid one. He's a fierce competitor. He's a trash talker on the field, but he holds himself in a dignified way off the field up until this point. So as we get more of these details and the picture becomes more and more clear, it will definitely be an advantage for us as the public to then be able to understand at least as much as we can what the hell was going on today with Mr. Sherman and his family. But we have new information coming about the incident itself. Let's take a look at this article from ESPN. Adam Schefter is the one who initially broke this story. And I think I'm going to play this video. I think I want to play this video. It's a 3-minute video. I have not heard any of it. But I think it's going to provide some context because now we're seeing here, it says Richard Sherman in custody after incident at in-laws home, car accident. I mean, if it's going to be the in-laws, at least there are going to be people out there in the world who can relate to the sentiment of being somebody who wants to wring the neck of their in-laws. I mean, there are plenty of people who feel that way about their in-laws. Doesn't mean that you should go and act on it, but just putting that out there, slight humor, kind of kidding, but I know there's a lot of people out there that have real problems with in-laws. So let's try and go through this video clip here, 3 minutes. Hopefully I don't get hit with the copyright, but we're going to go through this. We're going to listen to what they have to say, and then we will go from there.
Well, Sage, Richard Sherman was arrested early this morning in Redmond, Washington. That is the police department that essentially arrested him and booked him. Bail was denied. Now, police in Redmond would not confirm the name of the person, but it matches up to where at 2 a.m. Pacific time, police received a 911 call from a residence. The person calling said that an adult male family member who did not live there was attempting to force his way into the home. Police arrived. Suspect was located outside the home, fought with police, but was eventually apprehended, was taken to a hospital to be checked, but was cleared, and then booked into the King County Correctional Facility where he is right now. It's called burglary DVNINV, which is basically burglary, domestic violence investigation. But in Washington, burglary is defined as entering a premise with intent to commit a crime. Does not mean a suspect is trying to steal anything. The IMV means the case is still being investigated, and my understanding is he has to remain in jail until he appears before a judge, and we'll wait to see when that happens. But obviously a negative headline for Richard Sherman, who remains a free agent right now, and you wonder how this will affect and impact his NFL future going forward. Obviously, teams that would have been interested in him will want all the details they can get about this particular incident, about what did unfold before anybody would even consider signing Richard Sherman. But something like this has to jeopardize his future and NFL career.
Absolutely. Richard Sherman, a three-time first-team All-Pro, five-time Pro Bowl cornerback, and this happened outside of Seattle, where he spent the first 7 years of his illustrious career before going to San Francisco for the last 3. But again, Adam, since he is a free agent cornerback, what does the NFL do in this case? Just wait and see if he gets signed? What happens?
Yeah, well, listen, I think that's exactly. When I spoke to teams this morning, I spoke to the 49ers early this morning when I first heard about it. They were taken aback, surprised that somebody that they knew, as well as Richard Sherman, who had impressed them as much as he had, could be involved in an incident like this where he is arrested on a domestic violence charge in Seattle and denied bail. Now, again, I think probably with camps coming up here in the next couple of weeks, teams are probably looking at reinforcements, and my sense would be that nobody would sign him right now until they get more information from police on what this situation is, means, and how it will impact him going forward.
And one thing about Richard Sherman, all of us who followed the NFL, I mean, he has been known for his work in the community, regarded in so many ways, nominated for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award back in 2015. Again, right now, we don't have many more details except for the fact that he has been arrested and denied bail. Again, all of this according to our Adam Schefter with the very latest.
Okay. So that's part of the story. There's more to it, obviously. There's more to it. There's more that's going on. And I think this maybe this is a little bit older of a clip in regards to the information that's out there. But when you have a felony charge, there is no bail. You have to go to court first. So that's the reason why he can't get out. And I'm pretty sure that's a nationwide thing. If you get a felony charge, you have to go to court to get bail. You don't get bail. There's not an automatically assigned bail. So if you get picked up for shoplifting at a store, you'll get a bail as soon as you get to jail, because they already have, for a misdemeanor, they already have, these different amounts in terms of what the bail would be that you would have to pay to get out. When a felony is in play, and domestic violence, regardless of what it is, I guess how they determine it to be domestic violence, it's a felony. So there is no, there's no set bail. Everything has to be assessed, and then you get a bail after that. So it's not like it's not for them to say that they think he's like a danger, but it's a felony. So by default, you have to go to court, and then they give you a bail in court, and then you go. He might just sign a piece of paper. They might give him a signature bond where he just signs on paper that he will show up to court at this date, yada, yada. He signs his name. He walks out. He's done. So that could be the situation. I think, it all depends on who the judge is, what they're feeling like. I mean, it's really not in his control whether or not that's going to happen. Doom doom, the Law and Order sound effect. I see somebody put that in the chat. So that's part of it, right? So what we're also figuring out here, and really, I don't even feel like I really need to go through the article. I think what we need to do here now is we need to listen to this 911 call, because I have not listened to it. Well, I'm lying. I listened to about 15, 20 seconds, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold off. We're going to do this on the stream. So I listened to the first few seconds of this. There's been some talk about this dispatcher, and I was starting to hear the dispatcher was sounding a little bit like a prick. So let's go through this 911 call, and then I'll give you guys my reaction. I personally, I always felt like dispatchers were supposed to be trained in techniques to keep the person who's on the phone relaxed enough to be able to think and give information for the dispatcher to get to the police, so the police are able to be as efficient as they can in getting to the place that they need to get to. And it didn't seem like that was the situation here with this dispatcher. So let's go ahead, let's go through this, and then I'll give you guys my take.
911, what are you reporting?
I need officers to my house now. My husband is drunk and threatening to kill himself.
Stop. What's the address? Are there any weapons? Stop.
What? Like, why is the dispatcher like condescendingly telling the person who's calling 911 to stop, like she's like it's an annoying little kid? Like, come on, be professional. What is your problem, lady?
We took no, there's no gun. I'm saying there are no weapons, ma'am. There are no weapons.
You need to stop interrupting me so I can get the information I need to get officers expedited.
I need officers here now.
What's he doing that you think he's going to harm himself?
He's being aggressive. He has sent.
Okay, she needs to gain control to get help, but you're not. Look, you saw what just happened there, because she was being overly, stimulated in her response. They started to talk over each other, because she would start talking, telling her to stop. Then she stops, and then she starts talking and asking her question. Then she starts answering it in a panic. I mean, she is in an emergency situation here. And you have the dispatcher continuing to tell her to stop talking over her. Like, what? Why don't you, as the dispatcher, when you hear the person who is calling with an emergency, if it is getting frantic, let her speak and start getting the information right there. Just let her go so she can tell you what's happening right there, right now, and you ask her questions at the end of each of those sentences. Like, what?
Text message. I took the officers here now.
What's he doing that you think he's going to harm himself?
He's being aggressive. He has sent text message. I took the keys out. They're in your car. He's trying to leave now in the house. He's being aggressive. He's wrestling with my uncle. He's threatening to kill himself. He has sent text messages to people saying he's going to hang himself.
Whoa.
He's saying that if the police show up, so please don't shoot is what I'm asking.
Okay, wait. Say that again.
He has no weapon.
He says if the police show up,
he said if the police show up, that he'll try to fight them. So they need to understand that he is.
Okay. Has it been physical with anybody there? You said he's trying to fight your uncle?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Whoa. So he's talking about killing himself? Talking about self-harm? Holy shit. Talking about hanging himself? Texting people? Oh. Uh-oh. All right, let's continue.
Yeah.
How has it been physical?
He just tried to fight him.
Okay, trying to fight somebody and actually being
Yes,
physical
he
is
did.
two
He
different
did. All
things.
the way
How
down to
has
the
it been physical?
He's pulling. It's a 2016 black Mercedes. Richard, please stop. Richard, please stop. Please stop.
Is that a sedan, SUV?
It's just a black sedan Mercedes SUV.
Okay.
He's not going to be able to get out the gate. I cut it off.
What do you mean you cut it off?
I cut the gate. We live behind it. It's Richard Sherman. Like, ma'am, this is like a emergency. I need officers here
listen
now.
to me. I'm handling this. You need to stop telling me.
Wow. What is wrong with this dispatcher? Why is she like, okay, take control, but you're starting to act like you don't have no composure yourself. So how is she supposed to act? Like, this is a terrible job. It's a terrible job as a, I ain't no dispatcher. I can't, tell you what it's like to be a dispatcher, but communication is a two-way street. If you can't, when you escalate your emotions, whoever you're talking to is going to escalate their emotions. And she's sitting here talking and not berating, but like being a dick to Richard Sherman's wife. I'm assuming that's her. Like, she's being panicky, and then Richard Sherman's wife is getting more panicky. Like, you're not. This is not what you were trained. How you were trained to act. I mean, she doesn't seem like she's like even remotely interested in actually getting information and doing her job. She's interested in interrupting and talking down to somebody else on the phone. Like, man, look, she's gonna cost somebody their fucking life sooner rather than later, I'm sure. Jeez Louise.
That.
Okay, but what I'm
not going to slow help down. Talking to me is not going to slow help down.
Okay, well, what I needed to know is that he
What's your name?
My name is Ashley Sherman.
Do you know what his date of birth is?
3/30/88.
Okay, just slow down so I can understand you. What's the date of birth?
March 30th, 1988.
That was weird in that I don't think I've ever heard a 911 call. And I watch a lot of like true crime, like what's the one YouTube channel? JCS. Watch a lot of their videos on criminal psychology, and you hear all these 911 calls, and the dispatcher is always the same. It sounds like it's the same dispatcher, whether it's a woman or a man. It sounds like the same dispatcher in every call because they're calm, they're collected, they're asking for immediate, direct information right then and there. Even when people are screaming, even when people are panicking, even when some people on the calls actually get, deceased, they get deaded while they're on the phone. Like, they're calm. Ask them, ma'am, tell me where you are. Is this where you're going? Is this where you are? Do you see anything around you? Can you give me any kind of landmarks? Like, they're methodical. They're methodical and they're monotone. Like, they don't raise their voice up and down. They stay in one particular area. And this woman, she was just on her ass as soon as she said something. And I mean, what, you think this woman's just sitting there hanging out, calling 911, and there's not really anything big going on? Y'all just conversing where you feel like she's over talking you? It's crazy. Like, you have to have a level of consistent composure so that you don't get into a rut and you start, because I mean, hell, I'm sitting here listening to it and I'm starting to get a little panicky, like, goddamn, come on. Like, that's awkward. I don't think I've heard anything like that before as far as 911 dispatcher goes. Somebody needs to have a talk with that lady, because definitely not, in my opinion, not the way you're supposed to handle those kind of situations at all. I mean, and I'm not a professional in that by any means. I'm just saying from what I've heard and what I've come to expect listening to a bunch of 911 calls, that's not how they act. So weird. But also, we got some insight into this situation as a whole. And I think that was very important to hear it, at least, because something's got to be going on with Richard Sherman on a mental level. I think that's clear. I mean, he was drunk, clearly. That was the first thing that I heard his wife say, is that he was drunk. And he was talking about self-harm. And that's like a broken record for for footballers to hear about, for guys who play ball. Donovan Darius. This happened a year or so ago. Donovan Darius, longtime Jaguars safety, legendary player for the team, one of the top 25 Jaguars of all time. Donovan Darius was, pulled over by the police about a year and a half ago, and he was in a completely delusional state from trying to overdose on pain medications, and said he was trying to commit suicide. Like, this was not, these are things that are not uncommon with athletes, especially football players. And that goes back to situations potentially, this is just me speaking out, this is just me thinking out loud, that goes back to situations where players are dealing with potential symptoms from CTE. Now, Richard Sherman was a cornerback, so I'm not, of course he still had plenty of contact and tackles and playing defense. So it makes you wonder whether or not he was dealing with an episode there that can be contributed to CTE. I mean, that's one of the first things that comes to my mind. Maybe bipolar, bipolar disorder of some sort. I mean, because he did take the car, crash it into a concrete barrier, and then, park it on the side of the road, walk to his in-laws' house, and tried to break into it. And he was at such a state that the police had to use a canine to subdue him. This ain't no rookie rodeo. This is some serious shit. So, there's gotta be, and let me see here. Let's see what I can pull up on any more information. So this is the 911. I'm sure the 911 call is about to be everywhere on here. Let's see what we get. So, and one thing I think that is really a problem with this whole Twitter is the issue with Twitter for me right now is Twitter becomes like the arbiter of what the actual issue is with people, right? So people are over here talking about the hit and run. They're talking about domestic violence, but they don't even understand what exactly these charges mean in the state of Washington. Because like we heard from Adam Schefter, the burglary part is just the fact that he was there at his in-laws on his in-laws property. And I mean, do they really know what his intent was? I guess he was trying to get in. They say, okay, he's trying to get in there to, bodily harm, which is where the domestic violence comes from, or, to take something. So I think they're all one. I think they consider that one charge, and that is just what's put out there. So people are thinking, oh, he got physically abusive to his wife, which she's already come out, and we'll read that statement here in a moment. She's already come out and she's made it clear that nothing like that happened. And the hit and run was him running into a concrete divider, which they're saying now he damaged the DOT property, Department of Transportation property, which doesn't. I mean, that's a felony. Like, if it was just a regular car accident, does somebody get charged with a felony? They're saying it's a hit and run. Well, who did he hit? He didn't hit anybody. He hit a concrete barrier. How is that? That doesn't even really make sense to me. That they would consider that a hit and run. So, okay, somebody's telling me, look up Bob Condotta from Seattle Times. He has the police interview. Okay, let's check that. Let's check that out. Let's check out the police interview. Trusty YouTube. What's his name? Bob Condotta. Okay. Well, no, that's not it. Well, what the hell? Anybody got a link? Oh, on Twitter. Okay, got you. Okay. All right, here we go. Boom. So we got a video from the police. This is good. This is good to. Oh, it's only 45 seconds. Is this the only one? Guess that's the only one. All right. We'll go through his tweets as well, see what he's talking about. All right. So let's check this out, see what the deal is. Make sure you smash that like button if you haven't already done so. Do your boy a favor. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And if you want to become a member, hit that join button to support the channel. Let's get into this. This is the Redmond Police Chief, I would assume. Let's hear what he has to say.
I serve as the commander of District 2, which encompasses all of field operations here in King County. At 1:26 a.m. this morning, our dispatch center received a 911 call reporting a possible impaired driver that had entered a closed construction zone eastbound 520 just before the exit to 148. At some point in the next 2 minutes, the vehicle had left eastbound on 520, discovered a short distance away in a commercial parking lot. The plate returned to Mr. Richard K. Sherman as the owner of the vehicle. When the vehicle was located, it was I'm the captain with Washington State Patrol, and I serve as the commander of...
All right, so I mean that's just basic info. I mean, are we gonna get? Or is this the only video? There's not a longer. Oh shit. There's not a longer video for us to look at? Oh, come on, man. That's kind of disappointing there. I was hoping for more. Can't get no more juice? We got 911. Okay, so I guess, let me see here. This is 26 minutes ago. Okay, let's see what this says here. Ian Rappaport. All right. We heard from Adam Schefter, old Shifty Sheft. Now let's hear from, let's see if there's anything else that we can get from Ian Rappaport here. But before I do that, you said you see more. I didn't see anything. I only saw that one video. Posted the full video. I posted, or put a link in the chat. Or wait, I probably can't put a link in the chat. Okay. Shoot. Somebody find a way to get me the damn video. Find a way. I already went to this guy's Twitter feed and there was nothing. Shit. Okay, here we go. How come it wasn't showing up? I mean, okay, we got more. We got more, guys. Jeez Louise. I mean, could he give us some longer clips? All right, let's listen to the rest. And why are their mics so low? Holy crap. All right. Oh, from Redmond Police. All right, so you went to Redmond Police. Let's find the Redmond Police. All right. Come on, guys. Y'all can't tell me go. Oh, that's Oregon. Shit. Okay, so which one is it? Because I can't find Redmond Police Department, Washington State. I mean, what the hell I need to put in for this? I don't see them cats anywhere. Redmond. I mean, does anybody got? Give me the Twitter handle. What's their Twitter handle? Jesus, because I can't. I'm not seeing it. Open the link. What link? You can't put links in my chat. That's that's one of the settings that's on. So just give me the Twitter handle. If you can give me the Twitter handle, then I can do that. But right now, I'm okay. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. That's what I like to see. That's teamwork. There we go. These cats probably got so many. Oh, they ain't got no followers. All right, fuck them. That's not a video. That's not a video. That's a press release. Oh my God. Come on, guys. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. I'm relying on y'all. Wow. I never felt so stupid in my life. Here we go. All right. My goodness. All right. So, okay, these must be the same thing because they're just different stations. Let's go with King 5. Let's hear what they got to say.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Jill Smith, spelled Jillsmith. I'm the Communications Manager and Public Information Officer for the City of Redmond. Welcome, thank you for being here today. Today we'll be hearing from Redmond Police Chief Darrell Lowe, as well as Washington State Patrol Captain Ron Mead, regarding the arrest of Richard Sherman. After their comments, we will open it up for questions. Chief Lowe.
I'm Darrell Lowe, D-A-R-R-E-L-L-L-O-W-E, the police chief for the city of Redmond, Washington.
This is going to sound bad. He looks like that cop. He looks kind of like that cop off Boys in the Hood. I hate your damn black teeth, your black gums, your black hair.
So this morning at approximately 1:49 a.m., Redmond Police received a 911 call from the occupants in the 8100 block of Northeast 30th Street, indicating a family member who did not reside at the residence was trying to break in. Officers responded and made contact with Richard Sherman. Officers attempted to de-escalate the situation and gain voluntary compliance from Mr. Sherman. Mr. Sherman physically resisted officers' efforts to take him into custody, and a Redmond police canine was deployed to assist in gaining control of Mr. Sherman. Mr. Sherman was eventually...
Damn! They sick the dog on my guy. Ooh. It don't matter how, I mean... Look, we can ignore pain a lot. Football players can deal with a lot of pain, but I mean, I still don't want no dog chomping on my dang calf. I'm sorry. Hell no.
Taken into custody, both Mr. Sherman and the officers sustained minor injuries as a result of the altercation and the canine deployment. Mr. Sherman was treated at a local hospital.
He does look like Carl Winslow.
hospitals for his injuries and booked into the King County Jail. He was booked for residential burglary with the domestic violence component, resisting arrest, and malicious mischief. The domestic violence component results from Mr. Sherman's relationship with the occupants of the residence, not due to him physically assaulting his significant other.
I think that's a great point that they made right there so that people know. More people need to have seen this because there's a lot of people on Twitter who are talking about this guy is a spouse beater, which is clearly the furthest thing from the truth as far as we know. It's only domestic because the people that he was dealing with or he was attempting to deal with are family related. So, boom.
The malicious mischief is the result of damage he caused to the door of the residence.
Okay, malicious mischief is from probably him trying to kick the door down. Okay, we get that.
And with that, I'll take questions. Sir.
So, an element of the residential burglary crime is that he intended to cause, or intended to commit a crime against a person or the property. And so is that element satisfied by the damage to the door, or is there any other indication that he intended to commit further crimes inside?
So the malicious mischief charge is a result of damage that he caused to the physical property, and then his attempt to gain entry into a residence that was not his constitutes the burglary aspect of it.
I wonder if, and I said this in my last video, I wonder if he bought the house that they were in. Because, I mean, that's the only way I could see where he'd be like, you know what, I'm going to go knock that door down and I'm going to go handle their ass. Like, that's the only, that's the only path where I would even consider having any monicum of understanding in that somebody's in the house you paid for it, and who knows what the situation was as far as why this all went down, which I think is an interesting thing to note. Why would he go there? Again, there's so many things that kind of still don't make sense. He was speaking about self-harm, which means there's something going on mentally with him. And he goes to his in-laws. So what was happening with the in-laws that caused that spark to now start a new fire? Like, what was that about? Man, questions. I got questions. And these people need to do something about their freaking, like speak louder. Speak louder.
I do not.
You know what kind of damage it was?
I do not.
Do you know what his motive was?
I do not.
But you're certain he was trying to get inside?
Yes, I am.
Were there injuries to any other people? You mentioned Richard and a policeman having injuries to anybody else involved?
No, just Mr. Sherman and the officers involved in the altercation sustained minor injuries.
Was he able to actually gain entry into the house at any point, breach the door?
He did not gain entry into the residence.
Your 911 dispatchers, I trust, stayed on the phone with the people inside. Did they identify Mr. Sherman at the time as trying to get into the house?
He was identified in the call, yes.
Can you be more specific about the family relationship?
As I understand it, these are the ex-in-laws of Mr. Sherman.
Look at that look. Oh, man. That's the look of a guy who's been there before. That is the look of a man who is that's the look of a man who's been there before. Listen to how he said it. He kind of it choked out of him. It choked out of him.
As I understand it, these are the ex-in-laws of Mr. Sherman.
Damn. Ooh. So these were the ex-in-laws. So this is an ex-in-laws, meaning ex-wife. So he went to his ex-wife's parents' house Why? Why? I think it's like, why would he do that? I mean, what was the catalyst for that? What spurred him into making that kind of a trip, dealing with people that technically you're not, the connection and the relation has been severed there to an extent. Okay, whoa, okay. It's Rebecca says that it's not his ex-in-laws at this point. They're still married. So what is this? So what why is he saying that? Anything for family. Oh man, we need a Vin Diesel meme right now. Is that what we need? Holy cow! Hold on, though. I need to understand this a little bit better. Why is he saying they're the ex, and you guys are saying that they're still, him and his wife are still married? So what is the ex-in-laws part? Where does this figure in? Oh, they correct the marriage status later. Okay, so it was his in-laws. Huh. Golly. See how quick information, like if it's not right, if it's not all the way right, it's gonna, like, this is what I'm all thinking right now. Oh, okay, it's now I'm starting to like see that there was, he's messing with the ex. Well, what's the problem there? But fact of the matter is, they're still married. I'm confused. I'm so confused.
Was there any kind of violation of any kind of restraining order pending that you understand was happening at the time?
Not in Redmond, no.
What the can they speak up?
I believe that there may be an emergency protective order in place.
How much time between first contact and that dog?
So there's a restraining order? What? Somebody help me, because my mind is about to explode right now. I don't know what the hell is going on. I got lost as soon as we got to the front door of the in-laws, because now we're at the front door of the in-laws, and he's trying to knock the door down. Oh, but these are the ex-in-laws. No, they're not the ex-in-laws. They're the actual in-laws. Well, why is there a restraining order? That doesn't square. Okay, what's his wife's Twitter? Maybe she'll give us some more clarity here. Richard Sherman's wife. Does anybody got her? Does she have a Twitter? Okay, so this is what she said to Adam Schefter. Richard Sherman's wife, Ashley Moss, told the Seattle Times, he didn't harm anybody. My kids were not harmed in the incident. He's a good person, and this is not his character. We're doing all right, just trying to get him out. I want people to know no one was injured. Okay, yeah, I mean, I understand that. What? Hold on. Let me scan a little bit here. See, because I'm seeing this right here. Okay. A Seattle media outlet is playing the 911 call for Rich Sherman's wife on the air, emphasizing that it's an exclusive, and the host, who says he hasn't heard the audio before it went live, is openly speculating whether it's CTE. This is so incredibly irresponsible. No. I would not say that. There absolutely has to be a consideration about his mental functions in regards to CTE, because he's a football player. That is you cannot even argue against that. Why? because every single football player has CTE. Every single one. The only thing that is even remotely debatable is to what degree, because some will be affected differently than others. But every single football player, playing now, playing in the past, playing in the future, have CTE. That's it. Bennett Oganu was the one who discovered CTE. He said himself, the only way not to get CTE is to not play football. New York Times did a huge article, very well put together article by New York Times about CTE. University of Boston is doing studies on CTE, and I personally know of multiple teammates whose brains have been studied posthumously, and they both had CTE. 100%. So there's nothing about irresponsible when it comes to talking about CTE. It's there. It's just, is he being affected by it? Is it actually progressing and actually starting to show symptoms for him? Sometimes and there are some there may be players who will never actually experience severe symptoms from it. That's a possibility, and that's what a lot of us hope is our situation. I hope that's my situation. Shit, but as an offensive lineman, I got to be real with myself. I've been retired now 7 years, as long as I played. In the next 10 years, maybe the next 15 years, I may find out whether or not my CTE is going to be degenerative to a point where it actually shortens my life. Like those are the things that I have to look forward to. But it's all about how much. I would say that I do feel that it sometimes I do have mood swings that I never used to have before. And not mood swings where I start raging, just where I just feel a certain kind of way. And that's not, I knew a time before that where that was not me. So I know that that's probably CTE, but it's not something that like lingers and continues to, bother me. I know guys who are friends, who are former players, who have already started to forget how to drive home from working out. They drive past their exit 4 times before they realize that that's their exit. And it's a cat who's probably maybe 5 or 6, maybe six years older than me. So it's there for every single football player. Make no mistake whatsoever. So don't, when people say this type of stuff, it's because they don't know. But let's see here. Okay, is this her? Okay, here she goes. Boom. Boom. Ex-wife, report the truth. Richard and I are still married. I'm such a fucking asshole. I'm thinking to myself right now, why you had to say still? Why couldn't you just say we are married? Still implies that this may be just for the moment. So that, and again, I'm being a little bit of a dick here, but this is that concerns me. That still concerns me right here. This concerns me a lot. This concerns me. Oh, look at this. Simps already in her fucking replies. He was drunk, ran into a construction zone barrier, tried to beat down the door of his in-laws' house, resisted arrest and taken down by police while dog was smelling like alcohol. By the police, dog smelling like alcohol. Not sure what misinformation you're talking about here. These are facts. Yeah, those are facts, except where, you didn't see the news conference clearly where they said that this was an ex-in-law, which was incorrect. So we have right here that they're still married. Okay, so now, boom, we go back to square one. They're married, domestic dispute in the lightest terms possible. And okay, let's see. Let's where the hell is it? Okay, let's hear some more of this. I think this might be the show right here tonight, guys, is for us to go through this press conference and kind of float around into the Twitterverse to do some more sleuthing, dig a little bit deeper.
I understand it was in excess of 10 minutes.
All right, hold on.
Protective order in place.
How much time between first contact?
But how about this, though, real quick? How bad of a job did these cops do where they didn't even know if they were still married? I think that's pretty shitty cop work. Y'all should have known those things before. Nobody talked to his wife? I mean, unless she's not being truthful and there's something going on under or behind the scenes, which is none of our business, personally. None of our business. But if there's something else going on, maybe they just didn't want to talk about that. So you leave it at, we're married. We're still, keyword still, married. So.
Contact and that dog being deployed.
I understand it was in excess of 10 minutes.
Was the protective order for a former spouse or for the in-laws?
The details of the protective order I'm not aware of because it did not pertain to the incident here in Redmond.
Can we so now I'm confused again. Holy shit. So the restraining order was not related to this incident. So there was already a restraining order. So there's something going on between Richard Sherman and his in-laws. Because clearly they got a restraining order against him, and then this happened. So there must be something that's about to hit the fan on his side that he's having, issues dealing with. And let me not say let me say there could be something on his side that's hard for him to handle. And we've seen these events now play out. God damn, this is some sad shit. Because I done seen it. I've heard about it too many times already from former players, old teammates. I mean, this shit is like, you know what I mean? I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I've even had my own issues. So, I can't get mad at this cat totally. I can't get mad at him because I know, when you get into one of them zones, ain't nothing you can do. You in that zone. And look, if there's any females in the chat, they're probably going to feel a little bit shitty about or feel different, feel a certain kind of way about what I'm about to say. But I'm going to be honest. Like, a lot of times in marriages that are with football players or with professional athletes in general, and look, Richard Sherman's coming to this might be the end of his career. Might be. But when these situations come to light, a lot of people don't understand that there have been some issues, especially for players post-career, where people, it's really hard it's hard for us to really talk to people. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. As I sit here trying to explain it to you guys, it's hard to explain. People don't understand that something happens to you when you're done with something that you've been doing your entire life. You start to feel a loss in purpose, a loss in direction, a loss in like confidence, a loss in, your in motivation. I went through it for a couple years after I retired where I was spiraling down the toilet. Like I was spiraling, and I knew I was because I had lost my purpose. It felt like I had lost my purpose. So there was definitely like a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of like straight up like recklessness, like you lose your identity. Like, I literally was going through an identity crisis that a fucking 60-year-old would be going through, or a 50-year-old would be going through, or even a 40-year-old would be going through when I was like 31. And that was like something I never ever experienced in my life. I've never experienced a portion of my life where I had no confidence in myself, where I had no confidence in tomorrow. And that was like, that was what it was for years, for a couple of years. And it happened like, and I remember the day it happened, just snap. And there I was, my mind like started just going into this zone of, you know, what the fuck is my purpose here? Like, what am I still doing? Like, what do I do now? Like, so for a player in his position who is probably, you know, getting towards the end of his career, starting to get towards that ending, you know, there's a void that starts to build, and nothing that you can do will fill that void. There is no, people don't even understand, like, and your family don't even understand. That's another part that's crazy. Like, but I don't expect my family to necessarily understand, you know, but I expect support. That's what I expect. But you can't, nobody can understand how you feel except for other people who've been in the same spot. And a lot of times it's other athletes. So, you know, I can hear, you know, hearing him talk about self-harm, hanging himself. Those are all things those are all thoughts that go through your head at certain points. So if he's in that zone right now, it's because he's starting to already feel that weight of like, now, you know, what's next in your life. And look, again, there's nothing, y'all don't get this. There's nothing there's nothing that feels like being out on the field on Sundays. There is no feeling that I've ever experienced that matches fully that. I mean, my daughters being born, that was like that's a different category of the same level. But my daughters are always, you know, they're here. You know what I mean? Like, football is gone. There's nothing that can fill that void in a way that makes you like whole again. It's just not. There's just not. I mean, I've looked for it. There's not. That's a different kind of void. And when you get caught in that, you know, it's tough. It's tough. And I'm, you know, I can't imagine whether or not, you know, Richard is going through that specifically right now, but, you know, I've seen this kind of thing before. I've heard these kind of things before, and it's usually that. So let's keep going here with this. Appreciate y'all staying by the rant, because I do tend to rant when I get into this type of stuff, because I do, you know, it's like I can relate to this a lot more than, you know, people probably imagine. Like, there's a lot of people who go through these kind of things as well, and they'll look at a person like me or look at a person like Richard Sherman and say, well, how can your life be hard? How can you be struggling? How can you be feeling that way? It's not about any of the things you thinking should mean that a person's life is good. The money don't mean shit. We don't care about the money. We care about being like happy. Like everybody else. You think you want the money until you get the money and you figure out that the money didn't do nothing. The money just lets you do whatever you want, but it didn't make you happy, you know? So it is what it is in that regard. So let's go through the rest of this.
Sorts of de-escalation tactics the officers used, and sort of at what point was it clear that wasn't going to work?
So as I understand it, the officers parked a distance away from the location and approached on foot. Once they made contact with Mr. Sherman, they spoke with him. I'm told that even joked with him. One of the officers involved in a prior occupation had contact with Mr. Sherman and shared that story and experience with him. So it kind of ran the gamut of why they were there and previous contacts with him.
Chief, can you go back to the DV component?
I think I need to hear that again, because they said they were joking with them. That they were actually like, because I heard them say a little earlier in this that he was cooperative, and then they got in a fight. So he was cooperating. They were joking. They were talking. One of the officers had ran into him in the past in a different job, and that, Richard Sherman recalled that. So there was a level of rapport that was built right there, just because, it's okay. He remembers the face, familiar face, cool. And then it turns into a fight where y'all got to sick a dog on him. So that is where I get into my head. That's CTE. I don't want to say that that's what it is right now, but that would be my first assumption. That would be my first guess. And again, I ain't no medical professional. You can't even test for CTE until you're dead. So it's not even like you can actually diagnose him, but we know what it is. So, that kind of flip from being friendly and being, that I've never had that. I've never had that switch. I've never been like friendly and then just completely ready to fight. I've never had that, but that's part of it. Like that is an extreme mood swing. So I don't know. I hate like having to try and, I hate saying it because for me, I don't want to like assume anything, but that's where all roads lead. That's where all roads lead when it comes to like these situations. Cause again, we know like a lot of football players, especially with like players who've been playing a while, they know what these are. They know what these situations like this are.
I think that if I heard you right, that you said that was because of the relationship of the people in the home, there's a family relationship, not because of domestic violence. But does that DV also go to this, I'm sorry, did you call it a restraining order or a protection order?
So the domestic violence component for the incident that occurred in Redmond is as a result of the relationship between Mr. Sherman and his former in-laws.
Chief, if we could back up a little bit, you mentioned the initial interaction between Sherman and the responding officer.
Finally, we got a freaking reporter who can actually speak with some fucking bass in his voice. Say it with your chest, homie.
Officer, is this being, back up a little bit, you mentioned the initial interaction between Sherman and the responding officer. Is this being somewhat amicable? At what point did it turn?
So there was conversation between Mr. Sherman and the officers present at the point in time where the officers had established their probable cause in order to effect the arrest of Mr. Sherman. At the point in time that he was notified that he was going to be placed under arrest is when, I'll say, the situation turned.
Can you describe what happened from that point?
I don't mean to laugh, guys. He did a little double take there because, in layman terms, once he found out he was going to have to go to jail, he was like, hell the fuck no. I ain't going to jail. What you mean? And hey, I get it. I get it because he's a free agent. He's a free agent. And what they're going to charge, and I mean, look, they probably told him what they were going to have to charge him with, and he probably flipped out. I'm not going to lie. I'm not so sure if I was in this position. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to flip out. You flip out. I mean, he lucky they ain't light his ass up because that shit be happening. We know how that shit be happening. But I would have been tripping for sure. You're a free agent. Like, if he goes to jail with this charge, that might be the end of it. That will likely, I mean, hell, how many cats done came back from that in the NFL as of late? None of them. You get that domestic violence charge and you are done. You toast. You cooked. You cooked. Shoot. So I can kind of get it. I can kind of get it. He probably was like, hell no, I ain't going to jail. What you mean? Shit, I would have offered a motherfucker money. I'd have been like, look, bro, I'll give you $100,000. Just please, please. Because that's like his damn career, real talk. That might be it. That might be it. And really, I say that because this is what the NFL does. The NFL does not fuck with you once there's like one of two things. Domestic shit, you're done. And if it starts bringing back to the forefront the CTE discussion, they're not going to fuck with him. He's going to have to be done. Nobody's going to sign him. Nobody's going to sign him during the season. And if he's best case scenario, you might get picked up by somebody in the playoffs or right before the playoffs. But getting arrested on those kind of things with the NFL does not play with that shit no more. They don't even because it's too much of a PR headache for them. They don't want to deal with that.
As far as
was there pushing,
this dude's looks are hilarious to me. I don't know if it's just me.
To qualify resisting arrest, or at what point did it get physical? And you mentioned the K-9 deployed. Like, kind of take us from there on.
So as I understand it, at the point in time, Mr. Sherman was advised that he was going to be placed under arrest. He attempted to walk away from the officers and at a point accelerated his pace.
Look, I'm not trying to make light of this, but can you imagine? I can imagine because I remember. Okay, short story. I know I paused it. I'm sorry. Short story. First off, my point is, in his position, this is the worst thing that can happen. Going to jail for this. So, yeah, he's gonna panic. He's probably gonna try and like distance himself from that. It's futile. We all know that. But, quick story. This is after my 4th year in the NFL. I literally just signed a contract extension. This is like before the 4th year started, I signed a 5-year extension. I'm driving to Atlanta from Jacksonville, get pulled over by a cop. I mean, it was in Tifton County, Georgia. I fucking hate that place. I literally am traumatized every time I have to drive through Tifton County. It's traumatizing when I'm going back to Jacksonville. Anyways, long story short, I get pulled over. I had, not gonna lie, had me a bag of weed in the car, and this cop was full of shit when he asked me, but my dumb ass took a second to think about it, and I told him the truth when I could have just lied and I would have got away with it, but I have a hard problem with lying. So he asked me if I've been smoking any marijuana, and I was like, there's no way they'll find that weed in my car. There's no way. I hit it so well. There's no way. But if you lie to him and he finds it, you're fucked. So I was like, you know what, officer? I sure was smoking earlier. It's all gone now, though. He's like, well, we're going to go ahead and search your car, sir. And this dude is a fat piece of fucking, he's a fat slob fucking cop. And this cat, him and his partner, ran my ID. Now, at this point, I still had a Texas driver's license because I'm from Texas. I didn't change my Texas driver's license until I was living here in Atlanta for 2 or 3 years already. Like, that's how like hardcore Texas I was growing, just coming up. I'm proud of being a Texan, but I'm not very proud of being one right now. But I'm a Georgian right now. So, anyways, these dudes searched my car, and I'm sitting there standing next to my car while they're going through my car, and I'm just thinking to myself, if this shit gets on the news, it could have some problems. How are we gonna stop this? As long as they don't take me to jail. And literally, these guys searched my car for about 30 minutes, could not find anything. Then they decided to go run my driver's license, because they had to run my license at this point. They go run my license. Oh, your license is suspended in Texas. And I'm like, oh, okay, big deal. Well, you want to tow my car? Fuck it. I'll catch a cab to Atlanta. They're like, oh, no, buddy. You don't understand. Here in Georgia, suspended license means you go straight to jail. And they were like being serious. And I'm like looking at these guys like, whoa, what the fuck do you mean? They're like, no, we're going to take you to jail. We got to. Ain't nothing we can do. We got to take you. And then they were going to call the dog. They were going to bring dogs to come search my car because they were saying that they could smell the weed, which it was a lie. It was vacuum sealed. And they were like getting the dogs. They said, if you don't show us where it's at, we're going to get the dogs. And if they got to find it, really going to be problems for you, boy. So long story short, I had to go in and actually grab it for them and show them where it was. They took me to jail. When I went to jail, I called my agent. I said, look, this shit's about to be in the newspaper tomorrow. I have not told them what I do, but I see the lady behind me while they're booking my stuff in this empty jail in the middle of fucking nowhere. I'm seeing them. I'm looking at the reflection off this glass in front of me. I'm looking behind me off this reflection, and I see her Googling my name. And I'm like, I need to get my phone call. They let me use my phone. I called my damn agent. I'm like, look, you need to handle this shit. I see she's on the phone. Somehow my agent gave these guys a call and made a threat of some sort, and they literally shut down the police booking system online website for 4 days because the newspaper had actually got a hold of my mug in their little town, my mug shot, and he called and threatened them. He called and threatened the cops, and somehow their internet booking system shut down for 3 or 4 days, and the paper did not run the front page article with my picture on it. And the Jaguars never found out about that. Never found out. Nobody did. I just told y'all. Anyways. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, South Georgia, man. Tifton fucking County. I hate that. That place gives me my stomach I started getting butterflies when I said that. All right, let's get back to this. Let's get back to it.
At the point in time that the officers made physical contact with him, he resisted. An altercation occurred, and then subsequently a canine was deployed to to assist in gaining compliance and taking him into custody.
And my only question on that is, can we see the body cam footage? Because look, this is maybe my jaded nature when it comes to how I believe that police operate more like a gang and enforcers than they do protectors and peacekeepers. When you resist against one cop and there are other cops there, you are going to get your ass destroyed. So I would like to see the body camera footage just to see and just to verify what they say. Because like I said in the last video, police have a tendency to embellish the police reports. I've been told that by a cop myself. If they know that there is any questionable, even slightly, even something that they may not technically get in trouble for, if they know that there is something that can be perceived as them having violated or having done too much, the police report is the first thing you'll see, and the police report will make sure to make a point that the other person went into this aggressive nature that caused them to do this or that. And if you look at a lot of body cam footage, sometimes, and I'm not saying it's not even like I won't say it's a purely common thing, but sometimes it's bullshit because you look at the video, the body cam, and it was not what they said it was in the police report. So I would like to see the body camera footage.
He did not make entry into the residence, so there was no there was no assault between Mr. Sherman and the occupants of the residence.
And again, to be clear, domestic violence specification just because of the relation, not whether he had gone into it or not.
Correct. The domestic violence component is as a result of the relationship between the occupants and Mr. Sherman, not because he physically assaulted anyone during any family member or significant other during this event.
Was there any verbal communication between Mr. Sherman and the people inside?
Yes, I believe there was verbal altercation between the occupants of the residence and Mr. Sherman prior to the arrival of the police.
And they made it clear that he was not welcome?
Yes, sir.
You said ex-in-laws. Is there any way to clarify the relationship? I mean, this is Richard and his ex-wife.
As I understand it, this would have been his ex-wife's parents' residence.
There's a significant amount of security cameras at this residence.
That's confusing me.
Are they cooperating with you, and have you seen that footage?
The family is cooperating with the investigation, and if there is video footage, I'm sure they will make that available to us at the appropriate time.
Is there any indication if the ex-wife was inside the house?
I'm not aware if she was.
And were there was, I think we heard there were signs of part of Mr. Sherman. Can you expound on that at all?
At this point in time, I cannot. I was told that there was a odor of an intoxicant being emitted from his breath in person.
There's 2 miles between where the car was located and where this residence is at. Is it believed that he walked that distance, or did he get some help from somebody else to drive him to that location?
I am unsure exactly how he got from the location where his vehicle was found, but it is, I'll say, speculated that he did walk from that location.
Do we know what hospital he was taken to, and can you clarify what injuries he might have sustained?
I do not know which hospital. I'm told it was a minor laceration to the lower leg and ankle area as a result of the canine contact.
That dog took his damn calf out.
I'm not sure of the occupants of the residence. What I do know is that there were at least 4 adults present in the location. I'm unclear if children were present or not.
What can you tell us the escalation of force, the way your officers are trained? You know, we hear a lot about tasers, use of other less than legal restraining devices and that kind of thing. At what point does it go from physical altercation to the canine? Is that step 1?
So, in a physical altercation, it's not a checklist or a pyramid. It's a very fluid situation. In this particular circumstance, for us, our canine is deployed as part of our overnight staffing. So the canine officer would have responded as a backup officer. Obviously, the dog is a tool that can be utilized. And because of the physical altercation, the decision was made to deploy the canine to gain, and taking Mr. Sherman into custody.
So, okay. So basically, without saying it, they were getting their ass kicked. I mean, that's what it sounds like. They must have not been able to handle him. I don't know how many officers were there. That probably has something to do with it as well. If there were only like 2 officers, yeah, I would put my money on Richard Sherman against 2 officers. Now, 2 officers getting overwhelmed. K9 comes in, snatches him by the ankle. He's done. I could see that playing out that way. Look, let's be real about one thing with the situation. If these guys did not know that was Richard Sherman, there's a good chance that this could have played out, and there could have been a number of different ways this could have played out. I think the fact that they knew who he was, and of course you know who he is in the state of Washington, I think that probably limited this thing down to 2 different scenarios. He's either going to cooperate and just go peacefully and be arrested, or they're going to have to just subdue him with probably an extreme focus on not killing him. That's probably what, that's probably, I mean, and it's sad to say that, but that's probably a more realistic, like, he is lucky he is who he is. That is a perk that does not that does not go unnoticed as an athlete, a public figure. Like, you're lucky that you are who you are, because the way you resisted and the way you fought these cops, they could have been easily within their right to fire off on him. And he probably was handling the first couple of cops that he was dealing with. So he is very lucky. And probably, I would think to a certain extent, being drunk, if he was drunk, or under the influence, which that's what they're assuming, he probably felt like he could do that for a little bit without putting himself in danger, and that's still a foolish fucking way to approach it. I'm not saying that's how he did. This is me just hypothesizing in my head. 6'3", 200 pounds. Like I said in the last video, he is a prime, in his prime, young man of 33 years. Who is still stronger and more agile and more flexible and has faster reactions than every one of those cops that were with him combined. It'll be very hard for those cops to deal with him if he decides to go there. And he's intoxicated. He's not even going to feel, on top of being able to take pain as an athlete, he's not going to feel it because he's drunk anyway. Shit, you could have probably shot him once or twice and he wouldn't have felt it. I didn't even want to say that, but that's kind of what it is. Like, he's very lucky. He is very lucky. And if there's one thing that I would be mad at him about, it would be that. You know what? that if you present yourself as a threat to police officers, depending on the cop you get, they have, the propensity to go from 0 to 100 in a heartbeat. You don't need to be trying to fight the cops, dude. You're not going to win. How are you going to win? At the end of the day, even if they didn't use guns, they got a dog, they got tasers, they got mace, they got batons. Eventually, your ass is going to get wore the fuck out. They're going to wear your ass out. And then you're going to be going, then the mugshot's going to look terrible. So, I get it. I get that, that he, I understand where his panic probably came from, and knowing that this is now you are doing something, you're in a position where you are going to drastically affect your livelihood and your ability to earn your livelihood because of this situation where they're now wanting to take you to jail. So you have to find some way out of this. And I mean, desperation, anger, frustration, he starts fighting, and then we get this. So, damn.
I'm sorry to ask this again. Would you go back to protection order versus restraining order? What do you know about that and who that pertains to?
So I do not have details of that. I'll say that the chatter that's been out around this since the arrest, I understand that there may be a protective order, but to my knowledge, it is not involving the family or the location here in Redmond, so I can't give you details about that.
Do you know where exactly?
I do not.
Was 911 called when he arrived at the residence, or was it when people thought he may be coming? Do you know that part of when 911 was called?
So I believe the 911 call was made once Mr. Sherman got to the residence and attempted to force entry inside.
Do people know why he was there, what he wanted?
I think now we know that that's incorrect, because the 911 call, he was there. He was at the home with his wife, and I guess you hear him when she said that he was being aggressive. I thought I heard him say this. Let me go back and let me check on this real quick. What is this? Where's Look who's the second on here. Dispatcher. It's we finna find out who you is. First thing. All right, let me go top. Boom. Richard Sherman's wife's 911 call was disturbing, not only because it describes Sherman going through a crisis, but also because of the unprofessional response of the 911 dispatcher. You damn right. That dispatcher, we gonna find out the internet is undefeated. Don't you ever forget it. The internet's gonna find out who the hell that was. All right. Oh my God. All right, let me find this 911 call again. Cause I want to see if I was hearing that right. Cause I thought when she said he was being really aggressive and everything like that, God damn it. Why is it? Okay, here we go. Boom. I thought that she said when he was being really aggressive, you could hear him in the background saying, "I'm not being aggressive." I thought I heard that, but we got to hear it again, guys. Let me just find it.
911, what are you reporting?
This damn dispatcher, I'm telling you. Hold on.
Are there any weapons? Stop.
There's no gun. I'm saying there are no weapons, ma'am. There are no weapons.
You need to stop interrupting me so I can.
He's being aggressive. He has sent text messages.
He did say it.
He's being aggressive. He has sent text messages.
Is he?
Now.
What's he doing that you think he's going to harm himself?
He's being aggressive. He has sent text messages. I took the keys out. They're in your car. He's trying to leave now in the house. He's being aggressive. He's wrestling with my uncle. He's threatening to kill himself. He has sent text messages to people saying he's going to hang himself. Yeah,
okay. I couldn't totally make it out. Anyways, let me see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Let me jump in here with y'all. Let's see. Uche, do you drive with a radar detector in your vehicle? If not, get one. Cobra is a good brand for radar detectors. It personally saved me from multiple speeding tickets. Google Maps. Google Maps ain't perfect, but it shows you when you're doing navigation, it shows you where police are at. When I had my 2012 Audi R8 Spider GT, Audi actually got like this $3,000 sensor system that they put into the car that's connected to one of those things like the radar detectors where it shows you, it like beeps and shit like that, and they put all these sensors around the car. You know, this is a V10 600 horsepower convertible freaking supercar, right? So I mean, I drove that thing on average at like 120 miles an hour, and it felt like I was driving like 60, like seriously. And it's crazy. I never got a ticket in that car, not one time, ever. I mean, and there have been 2 times when I got that car over 200 miles an hour going down the interstate, and I never got a ticket. But this sensor system put a bubble around the car that jammed any radars, so no radar could actually pick up how fast I was going. Short story. Game day. This is 2012. Game day. I'm at my house before going to the stadium in Jacksonville. I jump into R8, and I'm like running a little bit late. So, I mean, I decided I'm gunning it this time. I need to get to the stadium right now. I can get there in like 14 minutes flat if I'm doing like 140, 150 the whole time. So my reckless ass, I'm going, if anybody hears from Jacksonville, JTB Highway. I took JTB to 95, and I got down JTB. Like, I was doing like 170 down JTB. And I go flying by a damn Jacksonville Sheriff's Office cop car. And I'm like convertible, it's convertible. So top's down. I'm in my I'm in my button up. And I go flying by this cat. And I'm like, shit. And I kind of freeze up, and I'm looking in the rear view, and I see the lights come on. I'm like, fuck, all right, this is going to be, I got to be at the stadium in like 30 minutes. Like, this needs to, like, whatever's going to happen, just don't take me to jail, bro. Just give me a ticket. I see the cop gets out the car. I hadn't turned around to see who the cop was. So I just, saw the car, and I'm like, grab my ID, everything like that. Cop walks up on me, and it's our cop that rides with us to the during away games. I forget, Willie, bald head black dude, cool as hell, cool cop, good dude. He sees me, goes, "Ooch, that you?" I say, "Yeah, man, I'm running late." He says, "Oh man, go ahead, get up out of here, then." I say, "Appreciate it, Willie." I'm gone. I'm gone. Yeah. Look, it's a perk. Sorry, it was a perk. So I got lucky. I dusted off. I mean, he said, "Go ahead, man, get up out of here." And I was right back at 170. And I was in the shoulder, going past traffic. Got my ass to the stadium with 2 minutes to spare, baby. Hell yeah. Anyways, let's get back to this. Let's get through the rest of this, guys.
His motivation or reasoning or reasons for going to that house are unclear at this point in time.
Is the 911 call publicly available?
It will be. If you make the public records request, then those will be fulfilled, as they come in.
Can you share detail about the initial call that happened prior to anything that mentioned, I think in the earlier release, described there was an anticipation Mr. Sherman was heading to that direction?
I can't hear shit.
Well, were you told by whom? I'm not clear on your question, sir.
Someone told 911 describing
Yep.
that Mr. Sherman was heading that way. And the next piece of information in the release describes incidents occurring 2 hours later. Can you describe the nature of both of those calls? Who reached out? What did they tell you?
I'm unclear on who made the 911 calls. I can speak to what occurred once the residents called. Clearly, things occurred prior to Mr. Sherman arriving, to include him being involved in a collision on 520. So that information may have been provided to us. I'm unclear as to the sequence of events.
You mentioned one of the officers in a prior line of work or before he was an officer, had some, before he or she was an officer, had some interaction with Sherman. Do you have any more details? Do you know anything more about that?
So as I understand it, it was actually one of the troopers that was on scene in a previous job. He was a valet and had contact with Mr. Sherman in that context.
Can we hear from State Patrol with regard to how this began?
Absolutely.
He ain't got none of the answers y'all want.
Is there any further questions for Chief Lowe? I'm happy to let him take this, but my name is Ron Mead. I'm a captain with the Washington State Patrol, and I serve as the commander of District 2, which encompasses all of field operations here in King County. At 1:26 a.m. this morning, our dispatch center received a 911 call reporting a possible impaired driver that had entered a closed construction zone eastbound 520 just before the exit to 148th. At some point in the next 2 minutes, the vehicle had left eastbound on 520 and discovered a short distance away in a commercial parking lot. The plate returned to Mr. Richard K. Sherman as the owner of the vehicle. When the vehicle was located, it was had pretty significant driver's side damage from an impact with the barrier as it left the construction zone. Troopers began searching the area looking for the driver of the vehicle for suspicion of DUI, and at some point were redirected to an address in Redmond, and later learned Redmond PD was in the process of looking for Mr. Sherman for an unrelated event. Troopers assisted the Redmond Police Department with the arrest of Mr. Sherman at the residence following extensive de-escalation and
why you had to say that?
Tactics that were employed leading up to the arrest.
Oh, he means the K9 they sicked on him. That's a de-escalation tactic. Okay, I get that.
Subsequent to Mr. Sherman's arrest, the Washington State Patrol troopers involved applied for and obtained a search warrant and conducted a legal blood draw. Those results are pending.
Oh,
and Mr. Sherman remained in the custody of the Redmond Police Department, where he was booked into jail on the Redmond charges, and the misdemeanor charges of DUI and hit and run will be referred.
I have a question. Maybe someone in the chat can answer this for me. When you get pulled over for potential DUI, you can refuse to do a sobriety test and go straight to jail. That's what you're advised to do by lawyers. Do you have to give consent for them to take your blood to do a blood draw? I feel like that's even that. I feel like that should be even more protected. You know, you should be even more protected when it comes to your actual DNA, like taking your blood from your body. So, are you able to decline that? Or is that something that they can actually get like a warrant to actually take your blood? I've never been in that situation, so if you know, feel free to give me some of the details on that. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's a state to state thing, but I can't imagine any reason why he would have let them take his blood if he had a choice in the matter, because this is how this can play out also, is that if he gets, it's not even really, I mean, okay, on one end, you're talking about the DUI that you deal with the city with, probation or maybe like suspended license, something like that. First time offense, don't think he's ever been arrested before. Oh, Don Trey, my guy. Don Trey Flemings, that's my old teammate from college. We both from Texas. He played defensive tackle. I played defensive end when we were at Purdue, and then I moved to offensive line, and he stayed on defensive tackle. Now he's a police officer. Dontre, you got it. Appreciate you, big dog. So you have to get a warrant to get somebody's blood. Okay. Yeah, because I would be like, hell the fuck no, y'all ain't taking my blood. Shit. Y'all ain't finna add no more to this. But I say that because that is something that is going to come into play when the NFL decides to step in on this. And this is something that I guess I should try and explain on how this process is going to go with the NFL. Damn, that blood draw sucks because now he's going to get fucked. Because he was arrested with this whole situation, the NFL is now going to go through this process where as soon as he gets out of jail, probably the same day, probably within like 2 hours of being out of jail, he's going to come. There's going to be somebody who's going to visit him to take a urine sample because they're going to test him for any kind of drugs or even if they're going to be tested even for alcohol. Like he's going to get a drug test. So if he fails that drug test for alcohol or for anything else, which I don't know if Richard Sherman smokes weed, but if he fails that drug test, he's going to be put in the program, which is the NFL's like probation program for people who fail urine tests. I've explained in my last story about in a previous stream about when I failed my first drug test as a rookie. When you fail that drug test, you're in the program for the next 2 football seasons. You randomly tested 5 times a month. Anywhere you go in the country, they can send someone to come test you anywhere. Doesn't matter. Then on top of that, he's going to be in the personal conduct policy. He's going to be in that program. So now there is likely no escaping a 4 to 6 game suspension for him if he gets signed by a team. And it won't take place until you get signed. Once you get signed, then you're suspended. And you can do everything all the way up to the very first game of the season, and then you're suspended. So he's got I see some asking about weed wasn't tested for anymore. Is that true with the NFL? I don't know. Let me see. The NFL won't drug test for THC in players from April 20th to August 9th. The new CBA that was passed last year includes a relaxed drug testing policy. The policy means that 2021 is the first year players can celebrate 420 without discipline by the NFL. Yay! But that will not, that's not going to happen if you get arrested. If you get arrested, you will be tested for every drug. I can guarantee you that. That is probably the caveat with that. As a normal player and with normal standing, you won't get tested for THC in the off season. That's all that says too. You won't get tested in the off season from April to August. So you won't get tested during any of your off season workouts. You will only get tested during training camp, which that is after August 9th. You're officially in the preseason. So you will then be tested for THC. So if you fail, you still go into the same program. They relaxed it, but they're still going to test you for it. That's why they had those specific dates there. Yeah. So I see Jen says has been a perfect role model for 12 years now. The NFL should not condemn him but help him. He's just human after all. No, I 100% agree. I do. I feel so much empathy for Richard Sherman because, as a fellow athlete, as a fellow NFL player, as an alumni, what he's going through is deeper, and there's these are personal matters that are now being put out to the public. These are personal. This is his personal life that is going to soon, very soon. Even with it being as public as it is right now with his arrest, there are going to be details that are going to come out that are probably going to, be damaging because they're going to investigate and they're going to ask questions and they're going to ask neighbors and they're going to ask, cousins and uncles and all this. And if those people are, you know, I always kind of look at people in when it comes to a situation like this, you find out who's really there to support you, because they're going to go knock and talk to neighbors who live where he lives, and they're going to ask them if they've noticed any kind of, you know, irregularities in their relationship. If they notice any yelling, if they noticed any, like, or any arguments, any physical contact, anything like that. And these neighbors who have the opportunity to either be, and again, this is me thinking, this is my hypothetical thinking here. You're going to have neighbors who you hope, because you have been friendly with them, and you probably have signed things for their kids, and you probably have gone, you know, and done recreational things with their families. You hope that those people remember that shit and try to not be deceitful to the police, but don't tell them things that maybe you don't know 100% to be true, or 100%, or you don't know that those things are necessary for what they're actually looking for. And they're going to be, and that's going to be coming from the TMZs of the world. You know what I mean? That are going to be going to these neighbors and trying to find out the dirt on Richard Sherman's family, on Richard Sherman's, on his relationship with his wife. Like, these are the things that are going to, like, begin to paint a picture of him that starts the fall from grace. Right now, we're shocked. We don't know what's going on. We're trying to get the details, but it's going to be all these little sniveling little reporters from TMZ, from, you know, all these different, what is the other shit called that be online? I forget the name of the other little websites that are just straight gossip. That's just straight gossip, up and down, left and right. They're going to be tracking down these people. Shit. And they're going to be asking them questions about, hey, what is this guy like? You know, have you ever seen him get angry? Have you ever seen him do this? Have you ever seen him do that? And those are going to be the things that are going to start to chip away at his reputation, whether they're true or not. So that is where my empathy truly comes from, because, you know, whether it be your neighbors, whether it be your in-laws, whether it be, you know, your family, somebody is going to feel a certain kind of way about you. So they're going to start painting a picture of you that is warped. And people see that in the public, and now their perception of you changes. So, you know, I think that we all kind of need to, like, just be cognizant of the fact that this is his personal life that is being put on a display for the world to see. Maybe through fault, maybe it's his fault. Maybe, you know, you can put that and say, hey, he did it to himself. And I wouldn't be mad at you for saying that, because you have to be accountable at a certain point. You have to be accountable for what you decide to do. Like I said, shouldn't be fighting the cops. And, you know, if there's a dispute between you and your in-laws, you know, find a way to handle that in-house. Don't put yourself in a situation where it can be put out there to the public, and and your whole family can be embarrassed by it. And, you know, again, then there's the other element mentally. Like, he was having a crisis. He needed help. And he was clearly in a bad spot, talking about harming himself. So this is something that, if there is an issue with his relationship and his marriage, if there is, then that's going to be used against him. That's going to be what that's what they're going to go to court and say, he doesn't deserve to have, you know, this or that, because look, this is a guy who has mental problems. Even though what you should be doing is supporting this guy and making him feel as if he is wanted, or that you have his back. And I think with the NFL, has a problem with that as well. The NFL has a huge problem with supporting players when it comes to mental health, because this sport is so designed for you to internalize pain rather than to express it. You cannot show weakness. You cannot show the chink in your armor, because your opponent will take advantage of that. You know, that's something that is literally conditioned into you as an athlete, as a football player from day one. You're conditioned from little kids all the way up to the top. You know, so the people who and again, it's a common thing with especially football players. The only people who can really, if he's truly going through a crisis mentally, the only people right now, besides professional help, who can really get into his mind and be able to speak with him about it is going to be his teammates. But he's a free agent. So, guys who've known him, and I know Cliff Avrill's a guy who was teammates with him for years. He was my teammate in college. Cliff is probably Cliff is the kind of guy I believe he's probably already reached out to Sherm's people and offered his support. But any of his old teammates need to be calling him, need to be reaching out to him, need to be reassuring him that whatever he's going through, they'll support him and they understand, because only other players can really understand it. So I hope that we all can at least keep that in the back of our minds as this begins to unfold more and more.
Any questions?
What the hell is this cameraman doing? Figure it out. Oh, he's getting that badge
My
number.
understanding is
You can't even
that
see the badge number.
Left side of the driver's side of the vehicle had pretty extensive damage. One of the tires sustained nearly completely separated.
Derek Washington. No, that's not true. He's a defensive back. He's had thousands of contacts with his head. It's not the hits that knock you out. It's the hits that do the damage. It's the hits. He's had hits. He's had a lot of hits. He's hit his head on the ground when he's landed from knocking balls out the air. He's hit his head tackling guys at the hip, tackling them at the knees. It's not about the just concussions. Like I saw an article on Jake Cutler the other day where he was talking about his situations with concussions, and it was not, the concussion side of it is a problem. It's a big problem, sure, but it's subconcussive hits that actually do the bulk of the damage, because those are the small thuds that you have during practice, during OTAs. That's why you see teams getting their shit canceled during warm-ups, before the game, during the game, and that's been happening to him now for 12 years. How many do you think he got? Each game is at least 65 plays, 17 times. Practice, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 more days of at least 60 plays. Add those up over what? 12 years? That's where it all comes from. So it's not about, you're thinking about football games, but there are practices, and there is practice from college, and there is practice from high school and games in high school. And if you play Pop Warner, there's practice in Pop Warner. Like, you're talking about a lifetime of contact with your head. And part of that time, your brain's not even developed enough to really be able to actually even be susceptible to that kind of velocity of hits. For me, I didn't play football until I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school when I started playing football. I loved football. It was my favorite sport. I knew everything. I watched it every week. But I played basketball because my parents didn't want me to play football. They thought it was too violent, even though they love football and they're huge Cowboy fans. They did not want me playing football. I just started playing football my sophomore year. They got mad about that, but they, because it's what I wanted to do, they let me do it. But you got to think about those all count. All those hits count, man. They all count. And I mean, how many? You can't even measure it. You can't even fathom. This could be literally hundreds of thousands of hits to the head. Hundreds of thousands over the course of your life. What is your brain going to look like? That to me has always been the part that I try not to think about. And I've been playing since sophomore year in high school, and I know, I can remember a lot of the times when I got dinged and I was just but continued on. It didn't give me, I wasn't concussed, but I was concussed. I just didn't realize it. It's a subconcussive hit. It's below the threshold of knocking you out or knocking you senseless where you forget shit, but it is still enough to cause damage a certain level of damage to the brain. So, just a little bit of info, a little bit of knowledge there for you guys, just because I want y'all to kind of understand how it really the bigger picture of it, how it plays out.
And the vehicle was operated until it literally couldn't operate any longer, and that's when it was located in a parking lot about a half mile from the scene, and it was from there that the troopers started trying to locate the driver.
Oh, so he walked like half a mile, not 2 miles.
Was this on 520?
Yeah, the construction zone in question was on 520. My understanding is there was a closed.
Come on, cameraman, what you doing?
A lane that was closed off, restricted to vehicular traffic for construction. Somehow the vehicle entered that lane and was contacted by one of the construction crew members, subcontractor for the State Department of Transportation. They identified the driver, believed that he was impaired, and then subsequently called 911 to report that the vehicle had left. And it was one of those crew members that actually located the vehicle a short distance away, subsequently called.
Hold on, so they actually
construction crew members, subcontractor for the State Department of Transportation. They identified the driver, believed that he was impaired, and then subsequently called 911 to report that the vehicle had left. And it was one of those crew members that actually located the vehicle a short distance away, subsequently called 911 to report the vehicle's current location, and troopers responded to that. There was about a 10-minute gap from the original report until the troopers first arrived with the vehicle. In that time period is when the driver was no longer at the vehicle.
Are you releasing the make and model?
So there was construction workers who actually saw him, and they thought he was drunk, so they called the cops. Snitching ass. I was playing.
I don't have that. Not a matter of not releasing. I don't have it. Is there a question over here?
You know, it was eastbound, but the damage was on the driver's side. Is that right?
Correct.
What did he hit?
He hit a barrier. It sounds like he hit some type of a barrier as he was leaving the construction zone. But whether it was a piece of construction barrier or security barrier, I don't have that.
Can you clarify what led to the suspicion of possible impairment?
Well, that was reported. I assume simply the observations of the civilian person that noted that, but when he called 911, he reported it as somebody that he believed to be impaired. And I think largely it was because of the observations.
The fact that he wrecked his car.
Construction zone. We're very fortunate. These crews are out working at night at great risk to themselves. And here you have an impaired driver, a suspected impaired driver, that not only placed other motorists at risk, he placed those people that are doing construction at risk by entering a closed construction zone. So we're very fortunate that there were no injuries as a result of that piece of this.
So I'm sorry, did you say that he...
So he's actually pretty lucky that they're not adding charges, at least right now. Because it sounds like his ass was drunk and drove through a construction zone without even realizing it, hit a barrier, wrecked his shit up, and then went and parked it in a commercial parking lot and walked the rest of the way. And he was seen doing that. So, he's lucky that they're not adding on like reckless driving, like reckless endangerment or some shit like that. Like, he's lucky. There could be more charges. They could still come. We don't know. But, right now he's lucky.
Hit the barrier as he was leaving the construction zone? So there was no accident prior. He just kind of somehow...
Yeah, my understanding was he was contacted because he improperly entered the closed area, and that was when they noted the suspected impairment, and then called 911.
So did they stop? Sorry, did the people in the construction zone then actually witness the crash?
I don't know if they witnessed the crash. My understanding is they did observe the crash because they reported that. So.
Did they flag him down? Who physically stopped him?
It sounds like that's the case.
And you said that they identified him. Did they just recognize him as Richard Sherman?
I don't know if they identified him as Richard Sherman, but they identified him as somebody driving the vehicle.
Somebody's driving that car drunk, yo. He hit the barrier, man. I had a sandwich on top of that barrier, man. Hey, man, ain't that Richard Sherman? Yeah, that's Richard. Hey, Sherm, you owe me a sandwich, motherfucker.
Yes. And it was on 520 there at 148 eastbound.
And you said the damage included some damage to the tire that it had completely separated. Do you mean that the tire had like come off the rim or the wheel itself?
I think some combination of that. It was just described to me as basically the front wheel nearly coming detached. So whether or not that was the wheel, whether it was the entire axle, I don't know. But it was significant enough that the vehicle became inoperable at some point within the first half mile of striking the barrier.
You may still be working on the details, but what's hard to reconcile is if he's heading eastbound and all of the concrete barriers are on the south side of the highway, how does he damage the driver's side?
Well, as you take the exit, though, the barriers, I'm not intimately familiar with this particular exit, but as you take the exit, I would assume that the vehicle contacts a barrier on the left-hand side, or as I mentioned before, it could well be some piece of construction equipment that was in the construction zone. At any rate, we know that he had some contact with something significant enough to cause major damage to an SUV and ultimately take the tire off.
Do you know what kind of SUV it was?
I don't have that.
Is there a plate camera?
He ain't never seen no Atlanta potholes.
So we
That'll
do
take
have
a whole tire
Coban
out.
video. However, I add the vehicles. Coban is a system that's in cars. The cars were some distance away. Whether or not it picked up the audio portion of this, we haven't reviewed the uploads yet, but we won't have video of it because the vehicles weren't in close proximity to where the arrest occurred.
Do you have any more details about the protection order or whether one existed?
No.
And just to clarify, was the first 911 call that started this whole thing made by a member of the construction crew to alert you?
Yes. The first call came in at 126, and it was a worker within the construction zone that alerted us to the existence of a potentially impaired driver on 520.
Can either of you clarify, so he is in jail at the moment, what happens next now with him?
Sergeant Ballroom.
So what the hell is going on? What you done?
While you're up there, has the vehicle been impounded? Has a warrant been searched, put out for the searches? Anything in the vehicle suspicious?
And can you provide a photo?
So the first question is, we applied and obtained a search warrant for Mr. Sherman's blood. We did not apply, nor do we intend to obtain a search warrant for the vehicle. And I'm sorry that...
He's a lucky motherfucker. He's lucky. Anybody else, they about to go process his car too. He's lucky. He's lucky. And it probably has more to do with if he's parked on a commercial parking lot, that's private property. Cops can't really like go on there and do shit. So, unless they're called there. So, he's lucky. I mean, it's not like it's not like there's anything in his car, I don't think, but just saying.
I don't know if we have one, but if we do, we will certainly make that available through a public disclosure request. So,
was the vehicle impounded?
yes,
Is it here in Redmond or with you at Washington State Patrol?
it was not. It was impounded just to a local tow company.
Chief Lowe, you mentioned ex-in-laws. We have a team from Mary Penton.
His wife just tweeted that there's some married.
Okay.
So point of clarification, then in-laws, we can remove the ex title. So as you guys know, this is a active and ongoing investigation, so details will continue to evolve as the day goes on. The question I was asked to come back and address was, yes, as my understanding, he is still in jail, given the fact that there is a domestic violence component to what he was charged for. He would have to see a judge before bail is set, and then at that point in time, he would have the right to make bail just like anyone else would.
What would you say to this? The mother-in-law had said that Richard was welcome in the home, that this is a misunderstanding. Is there any misunderstanding that you're aware of?
At this point in time, no, but as I said, the investigation is ongoing, so things can and oftentimes do change. So if for some reason it changes, then that information will need to be provided to the prosecutor's office, and then they can decide accordingly, how this case moves on.
What do your officers describe as, I guess, demeanor at the home? Was he appear intoxicated? Was he immediately confrontational? Could you repeat that?
Okay, so I don't know if he was immediately confrontational. We received a 911 call from the occupants of the residence indicating that he was trying to forcibly make his way inside of the residence. I'm told that at a point in time when they made contact with Mr. Sherman, that there was a amicable conversation that occurred, and it is my understanding that things were no longer amicable when he was advised that he was going to be taken into custody, and that occurred
damn right
after initial contact was made with Mr. Sherman.
Whoa, what you mean I got to go to jail? Sir, listen, sir, Mr. Sherman, you have to go to jail. This is a domestic dispute. I ain't going to shit. You're going to have to take me. All right.
So, as I understand it, that the officers developed probable cause to take him into custody for the charges that he was booked for. And with that, I'll take one more question.
He indicated why he was there. Did he try to explain to you what he was doing when they were trying to effect the arrest?
I'm not aware that Mr. Sherman made any statements to the officers that arrested him.
We got a history calls in this nature.
But thank you very much.
That shit is wild.
Just one more. I just wanted to follow up about the trooper who had previously done the valet work. Do you have any more details about that?
So my understanding is one of the troopers that was involved in the arrest had previous contact with Mr. Sherman as he was a valet, I think as a teenager, tried to use that contact in a means to de-escalate and calm the situation. That seemed to be effective. My understanding is that the volatility of Mr. Sherman was up and down, but generally, as they tried to de-escalate and calm the situation down, that was one of the techniques that was utilized to make some sort of a connection or a bond between the officers that were present and Mr. Sherman.
Maybe this might be, I'm sorry, was it an officer that was slightly injured? Was that the canine or an actual human officer? I know it gets referred to as officers.
So my understanding is I had one trooper that suffered minor injuries during the arrest. My understanding was one Redmond officer suffered some minor injuries during the arrest. Mr. Sherman suffered some minor injuries from the canine during the arrest.
Can you specify what the injuries to the officer were?
The scrapes, minor. None required medical treatment.
Would it have been Mr. Sherman's first option to submit to a breathalyzer? Did you refuse that? Is that what
He was being treated at the medical facility, so because of the inaccessibility to a breathalyzer or a or an instrument, then we apply for a search warrant and just do a blood draw at the hospital.
Man, I don't get that. I guess, probable cause, right? But probable cause to take my blood out of my body? Like, motherfucker, you're going to have to put me to sleep. You want my blood out of my body. No. No, it's, I always thought that was, I didn't realize that was a thing, but I guess it is.
For the ease of everybody involved and time, because this is impairment is a fleeting evidence, so the sooner we can collect that evidence, the better, more reliable it is in court.
And how long typically?
Hope he was chugging water.
Would this one be expedited, or how long?
This arrest, from our perspective, and I think safe to say from Redmond's perspective, is being treated no differently because of the high-profile nature of the involvement. There will be no expediting of the blood results because of his status. The process will play out as it does for everybody else. It's just an unfortunate set of circumstances that he's associated with it, but this is, relatively speaking, an unfortunate everyday occurrence with somebody driving impaired.
He said, motherfucker, this was just Wednesday morning for us, bro, okay? We just gonna do what we've been doing, but this was just Wednesday. this is the first day of the rest of his life. But for us, it was Wednesday.
Making poor choices to drive in the first place and then finding them in the situation they're in. So I just want to be very cautious that, well, I understand that it's high profile. I understand that a lot of media interest. These type of arrests occur, sadly, every single night. The fortunate part about this arrest, nobody was seriously injured. Nobody was injured at all because of the driving issues, and nobody was seriously injured as a result of the arrest. So one more question. Pardon me?
You tell you how you got it. Backside, the house?
No, I don't have that information.
Captain, do you mind just weighing in again on where troopers felt that they had to get involved in terms of trying to affect the arrest, sort of describing that scene for me in terms of Mr. Sherman's reaction to the initiation of an arrest?
Well, I just don't understand the question.
I think initially that you had said that when they tried to arrest him, he resisted arrest and that your troopers needed to jump in to help as well. So if you could just sort of describe that.
We had 4 troopers present. One of them assisted in the effecting of the arrest. As he was walking away from the officers, he walked towards the troopers, and one trooper did take him to the ground. Suffered no injuries as a result of that takedown, but he was taken to the ground.
Was it the same trooper that had the report with them?
I don't have that.
Was it the same trooper that got involved with the arrest that had the report with him when he was in
Yes.
LA?
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's it. Yeah, that's that on that. Let's see if there's anything new that has transpired since, because whoops. Let's see. Do we have any updates? No, it doesn't look like there's anything new to report. NFLPA put out a statement, but I mean, fuck the NFLPA. They act like they give a damn about people. They don't give 2 shits. They don't care. All right. So, that's everything that we know. If anybody sees anything new that they think I should be made aware of, feel free. But let me check out what you guys are talking about here in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, they applied for that search warrant once it's granted. Pacific Northwest, where Mad was born. Who's Mad? M-A-D-D? What? No, that's Dog the Bounty Hunter. Oh. My boy urinating tree. My immediate reaction to recent Richard Sherman news just feels so out of character. Yeah, I feel the same way. It feels completely out of character. Doesn't feel like anything that I would ever have expected him to do, just simply because, I mean, his reputation has been so golden. But, I mean, that doesn't mean that you don't got demons, man. Doesn't mean you don't got demons. Doesn't mean you don't got stresses in your life that cause you to act out at times. Like, doesn't mean, he's a human. He's vulnerable to those things as well. So, I'm not going to act like this guy is just, shattered all our faith in him. I mean, it's a shocking thing to see and hear, but it is not something that he cannot bounce back from, for himself mentally and with his relationship with his family, if it's to be, if the relationship is to continue. You never know. You never know. And I don't really see anything that's come out that's new, other than it's just this 911 call. Let's Let's see what my guy Pat McAfee has to say about this. Let's see what he has to say. He got a little extra 2 minutes here. We can check it out. As long as he don't copyright
This
me.
morning in Washington, Richard Sherman was taken into custody. A 911 call came from a residence at about 2 a.m. The person calling said that an adult male family member who did not live at the residence was attempting to force his way into the home. When police arrived, the suspect was located outside the home. He fought with police, but was eventually at a correctional facility. More so than anything. I think he resisted arrest more so. The house of a family member is what's being reported. And then whenever they got there, he resisted arrest more so than anything. I think the way this was titled, domestic violence, maybe by the letter of the law, this is potentially because it is a family member's home or something like that. But burglary, domestic violence as the charge was not anywhere near what I thought I just read right there. I don't know the laws inside and out, but I hope that everybody reads like we just did, and hopefully we can satellite this thing that Richard Sherman was allegedly attempting to get into a family member's house that he did not live at. When the cops got there, he had not made it inside the house yet. He resisted arrest outside, was cleared by medical, then taken in for burglary, domestic violence. Would that be because of emotional? Like, what would
Trying
that?
to break in.
He may have been threatening something when he was outside, screaming into the house.
Oh, so
or something,
threats
maybe.
or something like that could happen.
Because it does say in the article, like later on down there, that no one was hurt in the
so
ensuing
obviously,
altercation.
We're not saying that any of that is right, but I think the immediate thought once you hear domestic violence is, okay, he attacked somebody, hit somebody in his family, his spouse maybe, a child, a nephew, a cousin. All those things have happened before. That was not the case. He was apprehended outside. Still, obviously, not great for anybody, including the NFL and Richard Sherman, the family. This is not good at all. Hopefully, he'll be okay. Let's assume he gets bail whenever he gets in front of the judge today. More will come out from this story. We assume, because it is Richard Sherman, it is the NFL, it is the offseason, and the words burglary, domestic violence are associated with this. I would assume there's more details to come, and we'll just kind of play it by ear.
Yeah, that's real talk. All right. So I guess that's pretty much where it is right now, guys. Yes, that's it. That's where it is right now. Look at these bitches. I hate when these cats post shit because I'll be like, y'all so phony. So we were made aware of an arrest last night of one of our player leaders for an alleged domestic violence incident and have activated our domestic violence crisis protocol for the protection and support for everyone involved. We will continue to monitor events closely as more facts are made available to us. Like y'all gonna do anything. Shit. Yep, I think that's gonna be it, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this live stream. Man, we've had a good time, haven't we? And we've been able to go through this thing, break it down to its core. It's been a good stream. Let me see what else you guys are saying in here before we shut it down. Let me see here. Who represents the NFLPA? DeMaurice Smith is the head executive of the NFLPA. DeMaurice Smith, when he first came on the NFL as the leader of the NFLPA, I was actually optimistic about him and what he would do for the players. But at least in the time where we were in the last CBA that I was a part of, in terms of being an active player, he didn't do shit for us. And it appears even with this new CBA, they're doing even less now for the retired players. There's going to be a large, substantial cut to our benefits that we receive because DeMaurice Smith decided he was going to pay back the owners part of the money they were losing through taking it from former players who were already retired. So, my benefits are going to see a little cut, well, significant cut, but not, it's not all of it. Still get a little bit of money from them. DeMaurice is corrupt as fuck. He's a piece of, all right, let me I'm not gonna go too far off the rails because last time I did that and I said something strong about these cats, they start sending me emails like, "What's up? What's the problem? You need some help?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, fuck out my inbox." Shit. Anyways, but yeah, NFLPA. It's probably if there's a players association that it is actually better than, I would probably say it's only maybe better than hockey's. That's it. Let's see. What else you guys got in here? Let's see. Sherman is all done. This was the beginning of the end for him. You know, we'll see, right? We'll see if this is the beginning of the end for him. I do believe that this is going to make it very difficult. Well, I don't know. It's you never know, really. And the reason I say that is because it's not actually domestic violence. I don't need this is like the only charge they could give him. I mean, I feel like, can't you give this cat like disorderly conduct? But he was drunk, so give him public intox. But he was also driving his car. Well, he's probably going to get a DUI added on to that. So, it's gonna be very hard for him to get signed before training camp. It's gonna be very hard. It's late in the game too. Hell, training camp is in like 2 weeks. Suckers. Oh man. Ooh. I remember when I was a player, from July 1st, it was a literal countdown in your brain, a subconscious countdown in fear and nervousness, because training camp is like the worst shit ever. And I mean, even as easy as it is now compared to like my rookie year, my rookie year, they still did like 2-a-day practices. It's just that one practice was a special teams practice and one was a full-blown practice, but they would alternate. So the full-blown practice would be in the evening time, and then you'd have a special teams practice in the morning. And then on the next day, you would actually have a shells practice in the morning, which was, those were so fucking bad. It was like, I'd rather be in full pads than be wearing shells. Shells is where you got your shoulder pads on, helmet on, everything except for your pants. You're wearing shorts. But the problem is, hell, halfway through practice, your shorts are so fucking soaked with sweat that they're actually like dragging down, and it makes it hard to run. It makes it hard to get your knees up when you're trying to, get into a block. And I hated those. But training camp is always like miserable. And just now realizing that training camp's only 2 weeks away for a lot of NFL players, I'm kind of like, suckers. I know they're not feeling great about that coming up. Anyways, Jen says, I'm not going to condemn a man for one error when he has been such a good role model until now. If he has health problems, help him get on his feet again. No, I agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly. I do. I agree with it because, I mean, I would feel that way for anybody. I feel like if you're having an issue, if there's a crisis you're going through mentally, the best, the only thing that, well, I won't say the only thing, but one of the main things that helps people move past or deal with that kind of like crisis and trauma is people who don't judge them, people who just embrace them and help them talk through it. Because sometimes people will feel better just from being able to talk about it. Because a lot of times people don't have people to talk to. You don't have anyone to talk to about those situations. So, the anxiety, the stress, and all those things that are stacked on top of you mentally just become more and more intense, and that can really snowball, and bad things can happen. Let's see, anything else? Let's see, NFLPA is better than NBA PA. Dude, the NFL. I mean, the NFLPA. When you compare the NFLPA to the NBA PA. There is no comparison. The NBA's Players Association does far better for the players than the NFL does. Far better. Mexican Iron Man, first super chat of the day. There you go, big dog. Appreciate you. $9.99, he says. Great stream. This is heartbreaking. I have 2 of his 49er jerseys in my closet right now. Great job tonight, brother Uche. A+. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. You've been a supporter for a long time, dude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, the NBA, you know, I'm friends with a couple of cats who played in the NBA. Dirk Nowitzki, I was friends with him for a while. He's been married, you know, and he's Dirk's different dude, so he's not the kind of guy who's going to be around places like that. But Jason Terry, friends with Jason Terry. Talked to Jason Terry. I believe last time I talked to him was like a year ago. But me and him talk every now and again, and we actually had that conversation. And when this cat was telling me all the different things that the NBA PA does, like, to take care of their retired players, I was just like, I started like going through my second career book that the NFL sends every year. I'm in there looking through it like, let me see what we got here. Like, nothing compared to that. Like, we get health care for 5 years after we retire, provided by the NFL. At 5 years and 1 day, you're either going on Cobra or you're going like on whatever the fuck you can get. That's it. The NBA, on the other hand, lifetime. They make way more money than us, and they get lifetime health care where they don't pay for nothing. Like, that's the best. That is the best. I can't even... Look, I actually feel people who say that they're in favor of universal health care, because I will tell you what, I have experienced having that kind of health care. You can't beat that shit. The NFL paid for everything. And, you know, I didn't even like get the surgeries that I probably should have gotten while I had that coverage. Don't ask me why. I don't really know. But anything that I went to, you know, that I actually went and saw, you know, doctors for, I went and did an entire full body MRI. Like, I didn't pay a dime. Didn't pay for nothing. Did my entire body scan, did CAT scans, did, you know, all kinds of stuff. Like, it didn't matter. Like, it was paid for. All I did was hand them my damn card, the Cigna card, NFL's logo's on there, and boom, it's all done. It's paid for. That's how it should be for everybody, I feel. Look, for the sports leagues, they got that kind of benefit, and I feel like if that's something that can be done for everybody, then why not? Shit. You know how much, I never thought about health insurance until I didn't have it no more. And then I had to go and buy some, and that's like, golly, it's hard to even find good. It's hard to find even good healthcare coverage unless you go private. And if you go private, shit, you gotta qualify. And I'll be honest, I don't know how the hell they qualified me, because I was like, you know, they didn't even ask for like, hey, can we like get some medical history stuff? Because I'm like, yo. If you've seen how completely wrecked my body is, you motherfuckers would not be approving me. Me just applying would be a pre-existing condition. But it was very, there was a peace of mind there knowing that you didn't have to deal with nothing. That's all I'll say about that. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys so much. You guys have been awesome. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share this. I'm going to clip some of this stuff up, and I'll be dropping it over the course of the next day or so as individual videos. So look out for that if you missed part of the stream. And definitely do appreciate you guys. Let me see here real quick. I think there's one more. There's a question that popped up. I have no idea. And it's Rebecca Starr. I have no idea. And I'm appalled that NFL guys don't have the best coverage after. Didn't they just approve post NFL benefits 5 years ago? In 2010, they gave that's a CBA where they actually gave us 5 years of healthcare coverage through the NFL after we retired. But once you hit that 5-year mark, it's done with. All right, guys. Everybody have a good night. I will talk to y'all again. We'll be probably live streaming unless something big comes up in between now and Friday. We'll probably live stream again on Friday, but I'll be dropping some videos here in the next 24 hours from the stream. So look out for those. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. I will see you all on the next one.